The weather's going to kill you.
I think we're live. We're live. Hey, everybody. Hi, my name is Steve Del Monte of Delmo Sports. I am your race director. We're going to get real cozy, Doc.
Yeah. Yep.
I am your race director for IMAX 70.3, Ironman 70.3, Atlantic City, presented by Inspira Health Network. The purpose of tonight's discussion is to introduce you to our official sports psychologist, Dr. Mitchell Greene of Greene Sports Psych. And he has been with us for a couple years now. For those of you that don't know, Dr. Mitch is on this boat with us at the Escape the Cape Triathlon. He helps athletes that may have any anxiety, that may be dealing with some nervousness, or at the end of the day, just need to be reassured that everything is going to be all right and to move forward. So, Doc, I'd like to introduce yourself a little bit and give people some taste of your experience in the sport.
Well, I'll tell you first that everybody who was so nervous all these years on Escape the Cape jumping off that boat, to a person, they all tell me it was worth it. It was one of the best experiences they've ever had. So if you're feeling particularly nervous about this upcoming race, I'm anticipating you're going to have the same feeling after the race, which is you're going to be relieved. You're going to find out that a lot of the things you worried about didn't come true, and that Delmo puts on a race like no other. So, and I participate in triathlon myself. I've done from the sprint distance to the Ironman distance. So when we talk tonight about the things you might worry about, I share in that. I'm not immune to it. I've had to work through my own mental game to get ready for races. When I move up each distance, it creates a new set of worry, a new set of concerns. And so I'll tell you professionally, and I'll tell you personally about the things that I've found have helped.
Excellent. And I can't tell you, he nailed it. Just because you get to a particular level, whether you are the new triathlete, because some of you, this is your first triathlon ever, and I think you're a little bit nuts. That's me personally.
I agree.
For others, it's you've done triathlons, you've never done a 70.3, you've never gone, that long, that hard, and this is you don't quite know how your body's going to react, and at the end of the day, what we're here to assure you is your body's going to react based on how your mind is through this event, and that's important. I would like to get into the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Regarding everyone, and if you could see my monitors, I am monitoring weather. There are two storms out in the ocean. Hurricane Irma is out there and is doing some big time things, and behind Irma is Hurricane Jose. And here is my blanket answer to everyone. Today, in the Wildwoods, it was forecasted to rain all day long. It didn't start until 6:15 p.m.
Yeah.
That was today. That was the weather forecast this morning for today. It didn't rain for 10 hours, and then it started raining. The forecast right now, which is 100% unreliable.
You're talking about the forecast for race day?
For race day.
Yeah.
Is looking to be pretty good. The forecast for this weekend is actually looking to be pretty good. That's all we can go off of, right, Doc? That's all I can go off of. The information that we have, that's all I can go off of.
Yeah, I was listening even on the way down here when it was pouring rain, and even the experts are saying they don't even trust 5-day forecasts. You guys, not to trust them. So we'll talk about what you should do about it or what you can do about it, which isn't much in terms of the weather, obviously. Yeah. But I think the message you're trying to say to people is what?
The message is we're monitoring this weather, and based off of the information we have, we are going to make the best choice for our athletes. Your safety is number one first. So we are removed from this event 10, 11 days. We've got plenty of time for a lot of things to happen. These storms can simply just, boom, out into the Atlantic, be gone,
right?
And no one's talking about anything. So that's where we're at right now. We're going to monitor it. We're going to make the best decision possible.
Yeah.
For our athletes.
And I would suggest, just to jump into it, for those of you who are serious weather watchers, that you consider backing off on that this week.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was going to help you, I would tell you to do it. But we'll talk about the things that'll help you. But watching the weather as closely as you possibly can is only going to put you on a roller coaster ride of emotions. You're on, you're off, you're panicked, you're fine. So try to make a commitment to letting Steve worry about the weather. That's his job. It's ultimately his responsibility and his call to decide if you're on or you're off, which is
you let me get the grays, don't you? You let me get the grays, and they're coming in at light speed. Believe me.
Right. So you want to tune back in and out that later on. Right now, we'll talk about the other things you can take care of, but that's something that could get in your way if you're watching it too closely right now.
Excellent. I appreciate that, Doc. And I have your cell phone number.
No. I said you.
Just in case.
I was you, I said.
All right, cool. All right, so let's get into it. You are racing IMAX 70.3 presented by Inspira. For a lot of you signed up at the very beginning, or you signed up in January, February. You've been working hard. Hopefully. You've been working smart, and that the time has come. There is nothing that you can do at this point physically that's going to get you trained up. Like, you can't do any more at this point. You should have already done the physical. Right. The physical's has to have been done by now.
That's right. That's right. If you're trying to cram an extra long run and workout and thinking that's going to ultimately be the difference, we know that's not going to be the difference. That's like coming from panic and coming from fear, and that's not the space we want you to enter this race in.
Yeah, this is not like an exam where you're going to cram the night before. It ain't happening. Right. But in order to achieve success, I think, and look, we're talking about the mental game here, and which is, I'm a major fan of the mental game.
Yeah, well, you're pretty mental.
Definitely.
All right.
It's all about being prepared. Okay, it's all about being prepared. And I think for the new triathlete this is their first experience with the 70.3, right. And for maybe the seasoned triathlete that's going in with some larger goals, there's 30 slots to the Worlds in South Africa next year up for grabs. And there are people out there, they want to go. Number one, they love to travel. Number two, they want to compete against the best athletes in the world, and so they're going for those slots, or they're going for a podium. Maybe not a slot to Worlds, but they're going for a podium. Sure. A lot's riding on this, and I used to do that myself with certain races. Like, I would get myself all geared up for the Philly Tri every year, and every year I got myself so geared up, I underperformed.
Right. Okay.
I underperformed.
Right. And
so we want to talk about being prepared.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I think right now, for those of you listening, I think you'd be smart to not just listen, but to get a pad or your laptop or something in front of you, kind of like block out some distractions here. Mm-hmm. We only have you for a short period of time, and I know you can listen, I know you can get it, but there's a lot of value in writing certain things down, because there's certain things I'd like you to write down that you might learn tonight that you can make as part of your ritual and routine for these next 9-10 days here to get ready. And one of those things I'd like you to think about is, Steve talked about, if you just are focusing on your goals and you're just focusing on a podium or a finish time, it's not that there's anything wrong with that per se, but for many an athlete that tightens them up, and you do lose sight of why you even hit register in the first place. Yep. So, having a list of goals, I'd like you to start putting that together, and they could be outcome goals. We could talk a little bit about other kinds of goals. That's fine. But maybe a list of blessings as well. Maybe something right now, with everything going on in the world, with everything going on around us right now, I think that one of the ways you could help yourself in these next 9-10 days is to ground yourself in a little bit of reality, and ground yourself in the things that are ultimately the most important. This race will come and this race will go, and you'll do well, or you'll just be disappointed. But fundamentally, there'll be things about your life that matter much more to you. Oh, yeah. And I know you know that intellectually, but it's easy to forget. And athletes at every level of the sport need reminders about what's important. And I'd like that to be part of your daily ritual in these next 9-10 days. We'll talk about how to handle the goals piece, but start to get some ideas down about what you value and what you feel blessed about. Ultimately, that's going to last a lifetime. This race is just going to be a blip on the screen for you.
That's an unbelievable point. We call it here at Delmo Sports racing with gratitude. That is our biggest thing. I guess the race that at my comeback this year was Ironman. I was super dog tired. I was hurt, and I said, my goal is, physically I know what's there, but my goal is to make sure I thank every single volunteer I see. Like, that was it. That was the goal. I had a great race because I was taking the focus off of me and all the other external, what do you call it, superficial stuff, like what my swim, bike, and run was going to be. I'm just going to say thank you. And I took up the focus off me. I had a phenomenal event. And if you're going to have a great experience with volunteers, Ironman is where it's at. There are no volunteers like there are at Ironman. Everyone is there because they want to be there. And if you're looking for inspiration, if you're looking to take your mind off the pain, the volunteers will help you do that.
That's great. And if you're miserable these next 9-10 days, then it's clear you have lost sight of the purpose of all this.
Don't even show up.
I mean, no, you should show up because, but you know, I'm not talking about being nervous. I'm not talking about being antsy. I'm not talking about being a little irritable and a little hard to deal with. But if you're miserable, then you really are over focusing on the goals, and you're not racing happy. And as Steve said, it comes back. If you want to get that ultimate result, you need to be a place where you're really feeling big about things. You're feeling excited about things, and you're not feeling all taut with too much extra energy.
So talking about being prepared, how can you be prepared for this event? What are the things you can do, right? Again, for the new triathlete, new 70.3 athlete, here's some key steps. For the seasoned, we're going to bring you back with the fundamentals here. We're going to bring you back with the fundamentals. And the number one thing you can do to be prepared for this event is to go through your athlete guide. The athlete guide came out last week on Friday.
Yeah, I read it.
It's cover to cover, babe. Right? It's big. I know it's long. Don't try and do it in one sitting. You'll feel like you're back in school. But take a section at a time. Just go through the packet pickup process, Doc. Yeah. Just look at the swim. Just go over it with a training buddy.
Yeah.
You know, but that information is going to, and we all been there. We all have been to races where we have not even glanced at the athlete guide, and we got all these questions when we just created stress when the answers were in front of us.
Right. Well, from a sports psych point of view, the advantage of having the course in your head is you then can get into the visualization piece of it. If you are showing up and not exactly sure which direction the swim's going to be going or where the bike's heading, you're not really ready to race, in my mind. And as Steve said, the planning of this is the key to being able to keep everything kind of calm as best as you can. So if you could not just look through the athlete guide to make Steve happy, look through the athlete guide so you could be happy and you could feel like you're able to kind of anticipate the aspects of the race where you need to be more focused, parts of the race where you need to slow down, parts of the race where you need to maybe you need to break the bike into various sections, which even the pros do. You know, I'm going to hold right here. This is where I'm going to make a push. This is where I'm going to hang on to this heart rate. However it is you approach it, you can break every aspect of this race down. It's too big a chunk to just think about, I want to finish in this time. Yeah. You want to take each aspect of the race, break it down, and again, you can only do that, or you can only do it effectively if you know what's coming.
Absolutely, and that's how we have to go about planning this event here at Delmo Sports. We don't plan the whole event at once. I mean, it's overwhelming. I mean, the checklist for this thing is unbelievable for us and our team, and we have to take it piece by piece. It's like, okay, today we're simply just going to focus on parking. That's it. Nothing else is getting done. We're going to go through the parking aspect of this event. We're going to tear it down. We're going to build it back up. We're going to make it great. And there are many little pieces like that for this event. Yeah. So for you, it really starts with the athlete guide. Now, for some
Can I just interrupt about parking? Because that's no small thing. Just to use that as an example. You know how that is if you don't know where you're supposed to park and you feel lost in the morning of. That's the last thing you want to feel. So even those details that they've spent a lot of time on, you should spend as much time on, because you want that. You just want you want all your energy to be positive heading into the race. So just to give you,
if you want to start some trouble, Doc, let's start with parking, guys. Okay, we all know parking. You know, we had to work on that last year, and it was. I mean, literally, it was 2 days after the event. I was in here in the office with my team, and we completely went through everything again. I mean, we tore the event apart. We had a great event. This event was voted #1 large triathlon in the U.S. by TBI and you, the voters, the athletes. But we've broken this thing down. And the details of the resurrection of the parking of IMAX 73, which we perfected at the Atlantic City Triathlon last month.
Great.
We really did. There was zero wait to get in.
Wow.
It's in the athlete guide.
Yeah, okay.
So it's your responsibility. You have the tools in front of you. If you choose not to use that tool, the athlete guide, to be ready to be stress-free, that's on you. It's not on us. The work has been done on our part. You have to do it on your part. Now, you might say, it's huge. I don't want to use all of my ink. I don't want to do that. I get it. That's why we have invested in an app. There's my phone, right? There's the Delmo app. Download the Delmo Sports app. If it would come up right now, it'd be super helpful. And you will simply click on the Ironman guide, and it will take you to the athlete guide. All right?
Perfect.
The athlete guide. The athlete guide has everything in here that you would need for a successful event. And it's got everything. Everything. It has the course maps. It has frequently asked questions. It has parking. It has awards. It has hotel information. I know there is a slew of you who have yet to make your reservations in your hotels. And that's something that you need to do. So if you don't want to print it up, or at your house, and you're not too keen on using the printer at work because they know what you're doing. They know what you're doing. You can download the Delmo Sports app, and you can go through the athlete guide here. All right? That's what it'll look like when you bring it up. All right, there it is, right there.
That's perfect.
It's at your fingertips. At on the race site. As we're talking,
to be in bed and just scrolling through it.
Yep. Not that we want you on your phone all night, but you know what I'm talking about. So the app is an absolute critical part. The app and the athlete guide combined is a critical part to you being prepared. Right. Again, this is for the new triathlete, the new 70-point athlete, 70.3 athlete, and also the seasoned vet who is wrapped up in their results. Where they got it late. We got to bring you back to the fundamentals, right? Let's play good defense and run the ball here kind of thing. Let's read the athlete guide and get centered. So those are the two big things in terms of being prepared for this event that are a must do. Again, there's no way you're going to have the race of your life showing up at the last second, not having a quality warm-up, not having a quality night. It's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen. You have to be prepared, and that starts.
And we talk about you want to control the things that you can control. You've probably heard that a million times, and that's something you can control. All this other stuff is beyond your control. You actually can't even control your final race time.
Nope.
If you could, then everybody would race exactly the speed and finish exactly where they want. And if you know sports, that ain't sports. I mean, that ain't triathlon, and that ain't sports in general. So you can't control ultimately how fast you're going to go, but you can work through some of these things here. Now, to the seasoned athletes, we work with those as well, the guys and gals who are looking to get on the podium. I'm excited for you guys to be out here as well. But in the same way, you want to focus on where you want to improve. You want to look through the athlete guide to help guide you towards parts of the race where you want to get better. Maybe you raced another 70.3, you found at a certain point in the race, you were bonking at a certain point in the race, your mind started to go. You want to look through all of this just to think about where you want to get better. Instead of focusing on the outcome, instead of focusing on proving how hot you are and how awesome you are, which is only going to lead to extra tension, and is only going to lead you to get a little panicky. Even the best of you get a little panicky when something goes unexpected, when that guy or girl passes you that's not supposed to pass you. All of a sudden your race can take a real tumble because your mind takes a bit of a tumble. So instead of that kind of way to look at it, you want to focus on how you're going to get better this race. You personally, how you're going to get better and where you want to get better. Mentally, you should have a little list where you want to get better, and physically you might want to work on whatever from your training you want to take into this race. Being able to hold a certain pace, being able to get on people's feet, being able to transition faster, all these aspects of the race that you can control. I don't care how good you are, and I've worked with all the best, and Steve knows this as well. If you focus on improving, you will have a mind that's open-minded, you will have a mind that's really ready to race, and will put you in the best position possible to reach those goals.
And that can just be improving moment to moment.
It could be moment to moment.
Racing, I'm with you. I'm there on the starting line with you. I've raced with a lot of you. You have a certain expectation. It's like, oh, my swim was not what I thought it was going to be. Okay, let's make the next thing just a little bit better, just little teeny steps, and that's good. That's going to get you through. What I want to start with, kind of get into the race. This is going to be kind of like a race meeting. Is the swim is different this year?
Okay.
For those of you that are coming back, for those of you that are racing with us the first time, the swim is different this year. We're no longer doing waves.
Right.
We did waves last year. We had like 15 waves, and you went by age group. We're not doing that this year, Doc.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is that we believe the staggered start by ability is the best way to go.
Yeah.
We've done this in the past at Delmo Sports. We tried to do the waves last year, what didn't work last year? It's not that it didn't work.
No.
It's that I felt, and it was my call as an event director, that I think this works out better. put the people, regardless of what age, because there are people in their 50s that crush the swim. There are people in their 20s that crush the swim.
Right.
So let's put people that crush the swim at the front.
Yeah.
I
know a lot of people who'll be very happy to hear that.
So, and this information is in the athlete guide, but the first group of swimmers that are going to go is going to be under 26 minutes. You know who you are.
Yeah.
If you're swimming this in under 26 minutes, you know who you are.
Yeah.
And the best part about this is all of you are swimmers. All right? You're all swimmers. That means you're all experienced, I like to say watermen and women. You're going to go.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to worry about, if you're an under 26, you're not going to be like stomping somebody in the water.
Yeah,
the next
makes
group,
sense.
and how you're going to do it is we're going to send you in off of down onto a floating dock, and you're going to jump into the water. I think we're going to have I believe it's six athletes every 10 seconds is how you're going to go into the water, and it's going to go to a tone. It'll go, it'll be a series of beep and then a long beep, and then boom, those athletes go, and then we wait 10 seconds.
Next group.
And then the next group go. And we wait 10 seconds, and then the next group goes. So you don't have to worry about, is someone going to jump on top of me, jumping off this little dock? You don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
So we're starting and finishing at the Albany Avenue boat ramp.
So you're starting off a dock, though. You're not in the water.
Starting off of a dock,
Right.
a small dock,
Right.
and then we're finishing up a boat ramp. So where the event started last year is actually where we're starting and finishing.
Oh, okay.
Where we're starting and finishing. So we think it's going to be a lot better, and it'll keep us out of any crazy currents. I know that was a big question about the swim. People, even though this is in Atlantic City, this is not an ocean swim. This is a bay swim, and the bay is beautiful. Okay, the bay is beautiful. We've executed many successful swims there. We've had a couple that have been a little crazy. Whatever, it happens. But it's going to be a beautiful swim. It's going to be a beautiful swim. You can expect minimal current by how we designed this course.
Right.
This course. So the next group of swimmers is going to be that 26 to 35 minutes. Okay. Now, you may be a 26 to 35-minute swimmer, but that day you might not be feeling that great. So you're not going to go in that wave because you control you and when you
Your
go.
training maybe isn't what you thought it would be.
Exactly.
So you hang back.
Exactly. And so the next group, we're going to put up a sign for 36 to 45-minute swimmers. And that's the next level of swimmer to go. So that way, you know the person that you look to your left or your right, you're all about the same ability level. So you can all like high five, fist bump, and like, let's do this. You don't have to worry about Michael Phelps swimming over top of you at this point. It's not going to happen, right? And then we go 46 to 55 minutes is the next wave that we allow to go. And then once we have all those swimmers, because we'll be holding up signs, Doc, so you'll be able to see this, everyone. We'll be holding up these signs saying, hey, if you're in this wave, if you're in this ability level, you're going to go now.
Right.
But again, it's up to the athlete. When you're comfortable, that's when you're going to go. And then the last would be 56 minutes to an hour 10. Now, an hour and 10 is the cutoff.
Yeah.
Our last swimmer is going to enter the water at 8 o'clock in the morning. And if that swimmer is not out by 9:10,
Got it.
the race is over for that swimmer. Conversely, if you take longer than an hour and 10 minutes in the water and we don't initially catch you, or not that we're trying to catch you, but we don't initially see that, you officially have received a DNF. You cannot take longer than an hour and 10 minutes in the water to do this swim.
If they do, if it happens, are they getting on the bike or are they not getting on the bike?
If it's before 9:10, they can get on the bike. Yes, they can.
So it's based more on
But
the time.
you will not receive an official time. I want to be very clear about that. Almost all of you wear some type of technology on your wrist. I have just a simple Timex, right? A lot of people use Garmin or whatever. If you're taking longer than an hour and 10 minutes, and wow, I was in there an hour and 17 minutes, you can go out on the bike, but I'm telling you, you're going to get a DNF. You're going to get a DNF. And these are the rules. And you know the rules prior to signing up. You got an hour and 10 for this one. Right. So, with that being said,
Last question about the swim.
Sure.
Will they be able to warm up or that's a race day decision?
there is no warm-up for the swim.
No, okay.
The body of water that we have here in Atlantic City is, it's intercoastal waterway. It's a busy, when we shut it down, we're shutting it down to set the course, and we cannot afford to have any swimmers in the water at this point. Okay. So what I suggest is, and by the way, water temperatures are in the low 70s right now, so everything's looking good for wetsuits, because I know triathletes love to use the wetsuit, including myself.
Sure.
It's looking wetsuit legal right now. We don't see that changing at all,
Right.
Doc. We don't see that changing at all. So,
You were going to make a suggestion, though.
what was my suggestion?
I don't know. I said there's no warm-up swim.
Oh, my suggestion would be
Yeah.
is to warm up via jog. You know,
Get
jog
a full
on
swim.
Bader Field, get the blood flowing.
Yeah.
All right, get the blood flowing.
Right. And from a mental point of view, just standing there and sitting there can be so difficult.
Yeah.
If you can give yourself something to do,
Yeah.
you got the physical and the mental benefit of it as well.
Yeah, it's funny. My kids are calling me right
I
now.
see that.
Of course they are.
I
They
see
know what
that.
I'm doing. They're still calling.
Because they're kids.
So, and I want to be perfectly honest about something. I have never seen a race of this distance that was won off of the swim. Strictly because of the swim. If the person comes out, you know, like first in the swim, they're usually putting together a blistering bike and a run behind it. But use the swim as your warm up. New triathletes and even the seasoned ones, you know what your ability level is. Take this time in the water to start off easy. You know, start off easy and grow into the swim and get yourself going. Build the confidence. Just like smile in the beginning. So let's just loosen up. You know, let's just loosen up. And as your swim gets going, remember, you know, for some of you, you're going to be in there 45 minutes. This isn't a sprint. You ever go out for a run and just start sprinting full speed? No.
Yeah. No, it's a great. We sometimes talk about the 90% rule. If some of you type A, or just some of you I know are type A, can learn, and this is part of the learning process of being a triathlete, is you can learn sometimes. You just sometimes have to dial it back a little bit and just sort of tell yourself you're not going to go 100. So for some of you, that would be a big difference. If you could just take your time a little bit, you can kind of relax yourself a little bit and then relax your way into the race. Even the pros will tell you that sometimes the swim is not a full-on effort because they have such a long day and they may pay a price later on for it.
I'm just thinking about that. For some of you, this race is 6 or 7 hours long.
Right.
What in God's name would you start at 100% going, you know, all out? So
Right, it's
just
an
remember
important
that.
strategy. No, it's huge. It's a huge piece that you will
I'm gonna
thank
be here for
us.
6 hours. Take it easy.
Right, you're out there, and so good advice. And your heart rate's going to spike, so make it a 90%, 85% effort. You'll save yourself a bit.
And that leads us into the next, our bike. Our bike course is different this year, and I think it's better. It is a 2.5 loop course that utilizes the Black Horse Pike, a 5-mile stretch of the Atlantic City Expressway. And it also uses portions of Egg Harbor Township close to the Atlantic City Airport, but it does not cut off the Atlantic City Airport like it did last year. And therefore, we had 33 or 32 people miss flights last year because of some of the action that we had going on. So a lot of people said, oh, it's not the same bike course, and it's not. It's a 2.5 loop course. But I've gone over this thing a million times, and I'm not exaggerating, a million times. This course actually goes into Atlantic City. You'll be riding your bike into Atlantic City, and we'll turn you around once you get into Atlantic City via the Atlantic City Expressway. If you have done the ultimate training race in the Atlantic City Triathlon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this course, ladies and gentlemen, is closed to cars.
I saw that.
There's no
that's
cars on it.
That's no joke.
How many races of this distance do you get to say are closed to vehicular traffic?
Right.
And we're proud to say that. We think it's safer, and we think it's better and faster.
Oh, and mentally, just the idea that you don't have to worry about that. I mean,
Like,
huge
now,
difference. Yeah.
Now, just because we say it's closed to traffic doesn't mean someone couldn't sneak onto the course. I mean, it happens, guys. I mean, this is real life. Someone's got to get the wah-wah. Don't get,
Right.
You got to use your head. Always have your head up. Always pay attention. Be cognizant. Be nice on the bike, right? Like Swayze and Roadhouse. What's one of the rules? Be nice. If you're going to pass, be nice. If you're getting passed, be nice. You see volunteers or a cop, be nice. Say thank you. Say thank you. This is a huge lift for everybody.
Absolutely. And a lift for you, too. It'll give you a lift.
Now, because it's 2.5 loops, Doc, it's 2.5 loops, mentally, for some people, they're like, oh my God, a loop course. Me, I like it. It allows me to know exactly where I am on the course. Right. And I know how I can hammer. Right. Now, the total elevation for this race is about 700 feet.
Okay.
Now, over 56 miles, it's like nothing.
Right.
Okay? The biggest elevation comes from getting on and off the expressway.
I would imagine, right?
A couple times. Right.
But
what are some of the strategies? Because some people are going to be, and there are going to be some of you that complain. Can you believe that? Some of you are going to complain about the race.
Right.
How do you help athletes get over the monotony of doing a loop course.
Right.
Some people love it, like me.
Right.
Other people are like, this is terrible.
Well, triathletes should know monotony already. I mean, if you've been out there training for this race, you know monotony, whether it's on your trainer in your basement or whether you're out there riding for several hours. I certainly know monotony. But I get it. It's different in a racing environment and hopefully a little bit more exciting when the adrenaline is flowing. But again, I think you have to break this loop course, this 2.5 loop course, up into smaller sections.
Yes.
You need to set some certain goals for yourself, and they could be physical, about certain cadences that you want to keep, certain heart rate that you want to keep, and then certain mental goals for the first one, for the first loop, and then set the stage for the second one. When you hit the second one, again, a new set of goals for yourself or an improvement that you want to see, and some mental goals along with it. I mean, being a successful triathlete is learning how to manage the monotony and how to manage, times when the mind can drift off and get very unfocused. So you might want to think, if you're someone who does that. I mean, I have people, you have the best of the best putting things on their bike to remind them, little stickers that kind of with little mantras on that.
Yeah. On
their water bottles. Chrissy Wellington, amongst others, are famous for writing little sayings to themselves to remind themselves about what's important or where they need to focus.
And I think one of the important things is like the swim. It's a 56-mile bike. And it's 56 miles on the nose,
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome on that one. As it should be, right? When you get on that bike and you're going to bike out of Bader Field, you're going to leave on West End Avenue, you're going to get on the Black Horse Pike. When you first get on the bike, take it easy. You've just begun. The race is not won or lost in the first 1 mile of the bike.
Yeah.
And I have seen it because this is what I do. I mean, this is all I do. I don't do anything else. They get super aggressive in the beginning and they're, I'm passing, get out of my way. Easy. And I'm talking to the guys. The girls I'm sorry, ladies, you're not like this. Guys, you're the problem. The ladies are never the problem in this thing. It's always the guys being super aggressive. What my recommendation to the new athlete, and even the one that's going after the big goal, because I've gone after big goals and I've achieved big goals, is to just start off easy. You're going to hit your stride. It will happen. Get everything acclimated. You just spent anywhere from 22. Some of you have spent an hour in the water. Right. You got to get the blood going in the legs.
Right. You can't overcompensate for a bad swim by trying to knock the bike out in the first loop, because it's just the kind of mental mistake that any of us can make. I'm not saying we haven't made it. But that's where if you have to have a plan ahead of time. If you don't have a plan and your swim doesn't go the way you want, you just fall into that easy trap of all of a sudden trying to blow it out on the bike, and then
Sure, we've all been there where it's like you get out, you're like, oh, I'm 5 minutes off my swim time. I got to nail the bike. No, you don't.
Absolutely.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to nail the bike. It will happen.
Right.
It will happen.
Right.
So that, to me, it's a mistake I've made in the past, and it's something that I'd like to see all of our newer triathletes just remember. You had goals, you had things you want to hit. If you're hitting them, by all means, continue.
Yeah.
If you're not, as Doc recommended, have a few triggers to bring yourself back into, okay, what's really important here? What's really important here? It's like, okay, listen, it's a Sunday. I'm playing triathlon. I live in America.
Right.
This is amazing. The weather's beautiful, because it will be. I ordered it. And bring yourself back to that. And that's how you get yourself out of a bonk. If you've never bonked before, it feels like you're never going to get out. You will. You just have to, like, one foot in front of the other and keep going.
That reminds me even about nutrition. I mean, in terms of part of the bike plan. So it's a setup after a swim. If you try to get too quickly out on the bike, you go too hard, you forget your nutrition. I've seen it. I've seen everybody do it. So, but you're going to pay for it. So another reason why you have to kind of have your head about you when you get on the bike is part of it, because you forget your nutrition. You're going to, and I even see some people who, we see people who go too fast on the bike. And then I have some athletes who compete at this high level who go too slow because they lose focus. They kind of get lost in the race. They get lost in just sort of settling in behind someone. So another reason why it's important is try to set certain goals for yourself. For some of you, you actually might be able to do better. And then you kick yourself at the end of the race. Why did I sort of hold back so much?
Race your race, not someone else's race, too. That's another big one.
Absolutely. So, But I want this to be part of the fun for you guys. I think Steve feels the same way because I think it's part of the fun for him. Is this mental piece of it all? I mean, you've done the training. Now it's like, how can you plan ahead? How can you strategize? Where do you hold back? Where do you let it all out? I want you to appreciate that mental gymnastics you need to do as part of Ironman. That's what I love about endurance racing, whether it's Ironman or triathlon or marathon running, is it's this game within the game. And if you don't win that inner game, then the outer game doesn't wind up leading to what you want. So,
100%. 100%, Doc.
So
100%.
enjoy this challenge. Don't get freaked. We're not trying to freak anyone out about it. Appreciate it and enjoy it. It's what successful triathletes need to do.
And if you, I'm sure most of you do. Hopefully you do, but don't be afraid to like play games with yourself while you're out there. If someone passes you and you're looking at them thinking, how the hell did they just pass me? There's no way. I'm fitter than they are. They're not me. Just be like, all right, I see how it is now. I'm going to get you. Don't worry. I'm making you think I'm not going fast. But I really play games with yourself and be kind to yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know, no one else is going to be as nice to you as you. And it's one of the things that I found when someone's passed me or done something, I just say to myself, okay, just let it happen. You know, I'm gonna see that person on the front end, or I'm gonna do this, and be nice to yourself. You're already beating yourself up enough with this training and racing. You know, talk to yourself nicely, right? Words are like tattoos. You know, give yourself some good ones. All right,
Absolutely.
You know, give yourself some good ones out there.
Absolutely. And I know you want to move on here, so I'll let you move on to the next one.
Well, the other thing I was going to say was, and part of being prepared with the bike course, know it, study it, all right? There's aid stations on the bike course. Know where they are. Know if tacos the night before the race wasn't a good idea, that where the porta pots are located while on the bike. They're at the aid stations, okay? This is stuff you need to know, because for some of you, you're going to have some GI issues. For others, you're not.
Right.
For some of you, you're going to get aid on the bike. Me, myself, I wouldn't on a 70.3. I'm going to carry all the nutrition I need. That's me, because I don't want to do that. But others, they're not. So just know, be prepared.
Yeah.
Read the athlete guide.
And I guess I should add, from a visualization, to come back to that, you want to not just visualize yourself moving through the course and being successful and how you want to handle different parts of this course, but handle and visualize when things don't go according to plan, right? So we've all popped chains, you know, and they never happen at a good time. I really think there's a lot of benefit from just trying to visualize yourself handling that chain pop, getting off your bike, trying to tell yourself to stay calm. Plan that all out ahead of time, how you're going to handle that. You get a penalty, it happens. Whether it's fair or unfair, you're hit with it. You're going to have to sort of tell yourself how you're going to recover from that. That's part of the preparation too, not just when things go well, but when things go a little bit funky on you here and when unexpected things happen. The more you can prepare for any of that, the more you're ready to go.
No doubt, no doubt. So we're taking you from the bike to the run. You're back at Bader Field.
Right.
You start the run. Now, this to me is where a race is won, lost, detonated, celebrated, you name it. It's all about the run. And for a lot of you, you're going to walk a lot of the run. You are. Right now, the forecast is 80 degrees and humid, okay? On the Atlantic City Boardwalk, there is zero cover out there.
Yeah.
You should know that. You now know that. You need to be prepared for that. All of our aid stations will be fully equipped, fully supplied, know where they're located, okay? That's your job. It's in the athlete, not our job. Your job, know where the aid stations are located. But I find this is the part where the mental games really come into play, because at this point, for some of you, you're going to experience injury. You're going to experience the fact that you are not going to hit that time that you've been working toward for a number of reasons. You know that, damn it, this is not what I expected, and it's going to be so easy to quit. It's going to be so easy to stop putting one foot in front of the other. You're going to see people crying out there. I mean, there's no joke. You're going to see, but you're also going to see people that will not give up.
For sure.
They will not give up. And can you kind of help walk us through when, for the athlete that everything's going perfectly, number one, we hate you. Number two, you don't need any help, right? You're perfect. But for everybody else out there, like myself and everybody else, when the race isn't going perfect, or you're shoulder to shoulder with your competitor, you know, oh my gosh, I gotta beat this person, or maybe you don't have to beat them, but you like playing that game. It's like, I don't want them to pass me. And the pain, the pain is there. How do you get through that? What are some of the things, Doc, that you would recommend as a doc, and then I can chime in as an athlete?
Sure. Well, confidence is really fragile, and it's really fleeting. And you could think you're the biggest badass on the swim or the bike, and as Steve said, things can quickly shift. And I say that not as a downer, but I say that as something that you should appreciate and anticipate over the course of a long day out there. And that's why I have this mantra of courage over confidence.
Love it.
I mean, to be able to do what you're doing, and you should already see how courageous you are for just getting to this point. I mean, you should be congratulated, really, for everything you have going on in your lives and for everything you've already probably put into this and everything you're going to put into on race day. You already are a courageous person, a courageous athlete. And it's times like when Steve says, when you get off that bike and you're not sure how in the world you're going to get this run, that you want to remind yourself of the courage that you have inside of you. You may not feel like you're going to be able to do it, but it takes a lot of courage to be able to tell yourself, I'm just going to get to that next bush. I'm just going to get to that next tree. I'm just going to get to that next water stop. I'm just going to see how I feel. I had an athlete just tell me this morning, a triathlete tell me that my advice of him to stay curious was the best advice he ever got from me, because the mind wants to quit before the body has to. And I get it. I've been there. Steve's been there. You get off that bike, and if there was a bus that came by and the doors open, you might hop on it. The mind wants to quit, but you don't have to at that point. You don't need to at that point. And you just need to, though, appreciate that that's what your mind's going to start to try to do. So small little tricks like getting to the next bush certainly can help you. Having certain mantras like courage over confidence is certainly another thing. And related to all of this is what your expectations are in terms of just the race itself. If you know you're not going to run that 7, 8, 9 minute pace that you thought you were going to do, and you need to slow down, there's no particular way you have to do this race. Nowhere in the athlete guide does it tell you. It just tells you cutoff times. It doesn't tell you how fast you need to go at all. You get to choose that. And I want you to be out there and feel free to choose whatever it is you need to do at that moment. You need to walk, you need to walk. You need to run, you want to run, you feel better to run, you want to run. I want you to be free to do that without adding any extra pressure and making it any more difficult than it already is.
Yeah. For some of you athletes, you're going to have your ideal race. You're going to hit all your markers, and that's awesome. I mean, that's really, that's a special thing. And then for some of you, you've been dealing with family issues. You've been dealing with work issues. You've been dealing with injury issues. It's a miracle that you got to the starting line. I mean, for sure. you have to think of those things. And there's times in my career with Delmo Sports, and I was thinking, how am I going to get through this? What the hell have I done here? And you have to remember all the stuff that you've overcome personally to get to the starting line. Because what I like to tell the people that are too hard on themselves, I'm like, wait a second, you woke up and you showed up.
Yeah, for sure.
You won.
Yeah.
All right? You won. You're here. You did it. There's so many people that don't take the opportunity or take the risk, really, to put themselves out there.
Absolutely.
In a situation where where they think they could humiliate themselves. Like, oh, I could never do that. Isn't that the best thing you hear as a triathlete? Oh, I could never do that. There's all shapes and sizes out there. Right?
Absolutely. I don't mean to cut my
No.
I'm just thinking about this idea that people can feel like they're failures, right? And even if you don't finish with the way you want to finish, or even if you don't finish, there's so much that can be learned from all of this. I mean, that's what I know Steve wants you to get from Delmo Sports and from any of his races, is this idea that you learn something about yourself. You're going to learn in this race something about yourself that you didn't know before the race. You're going to discover something about yourself. And we want you to discover how courageous you already are, how courageous you can be, and if it doesn't go according to plan, you learn, you grow. Something good's going to come from it. Something good will come from this race, no matter what the result at all. And that's the spirit in which we want you to race, not with the pressure of something, but with the spirit of growth and learning.
There's three things that you're going to hear. There's three things that I think you're going to hear. You're going to hear, I won today. All right, I won, or I podiumed. You should hear from every single athlete, I battled today. Today I battled. I mean, it's a battle. I mean, I've never been, I'm just talking about there are things that you had to overcome throughout that race, little inner demons, little thing, my boss, I hate him or her or whatever. You had to battle all day and you got yourself to the finish line. But the one thing you do not want to hear from yourself is that you quit. Like, I'm telling you, that will have an effect on you in a mean way. So no matter what, all right, if you're not going to win or podium or hit your goal time, then it is your duty to battle. That is now your duty, is to go after and say, okay, I'm not feeling great. I'm not doing what I want to do, but I am not giving up. You know, and my thing is, when I feel like that, Doc, I'm just thinking, there's no way I'm going home and telling my kids, Dad quit. It's not happening. It's not. I can't even tell. I don't want to tell people in my office, that I quit.
But having the thought, I want to make sure it's clear.
Sure.
Having the thought, I feel like quitting.
Every race.
Yeah.
Every race.
Right. So I want to make a distinction that just because you have that thought, I don't want you to think you're cowardly, you're mentally weak, this isn't your day. You can't go for the W, so to speak, and not have the opposite thought that, what if I just bow out right now? You can't. So it's part of the competition picture. And I want you to be able, if that thought pops up, which it may, and it probably will.
It better.
It means you're right. It means you're actually pushing yourself as hard as you need to push yourself. And just the thought in and of itself, it's just a thought. You need to then shift. I don't want you sitting there with that thought, obviously. You need to shift away from that thought into something that you can then do. You need to slow down. You need to focus on something else. You need to thank a volunteer. You need to take a swig of water. You need to take a goo. Find some action, some behavior that you can do so you can get out of that mind space. But don't make having that mind space a sign that there's something necessarily wrong. It's actually part of the picture here.
Unfortunately, it is a major part of the picture every time I race. I am telling you, I have done many. There has not been a single race where there hasn't been a point where it's like, I just want to face plant right now in my house. I just want to teleport to my house. This hurts so bad. But that's kind of like, I know when I'm doing that, I'm giving it everything I've got, but I know from experience, from not quitting. And believe I've been at that point where I've actually DNF'd. Mainly it was due to injury, but the point was, I know what that feels like. I don't want that, but I know if I just push through this, there's going to be satisfaction on the other end, and there's a story to tell after that.
Right.
There's a notch on the belt.
And exertion pain, we're talking about, when we're talking about injury pain,
right,
we're talking about something different.
Don't be an idiot.
Right. So don't be an idiot in that regard. No one wants that. We're talking about exerting yourself really hard versus a legit injury where you shouldn't be doing that, and you need to figure out how you need to stop or whatever it is you need to do at the time.
Sure. So those are some of the things that we want you to think about. Is being prepared, is segmenting to this race, because it's long, guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen. It's long. Break it up into chunks. There's the expressway section. There's the Atlantic City section. There's the Delilah Road set. Break it up into. It's fun that way. It's like, okay, did that. Better than just one long road. It's like, damn, this is far. Break it up into chunks. When you get to the run, all right, break that up into chunks as well. This goes into Ventnor.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
It goes down to the Fish and Pier. Okay. There's the Ventnor section, there's the Fish and Pier section, and it comes back into Atlantic City. And if you've never run the boardwalk in Atlantic City, there's all kinds of freaks out there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Just what you need at that point in the race.
And that's what we love about our hometown. This is who we are. You know what I mean? We embrace that, but you will see them on the run. And don't worry, it's all coned and roped off for you, so you have your own running lane, but there are different sections of the boardwalk. It's a good idea to get there a couple days early. Ride your bike on the boardwalk in the morning and be like, okay, I know this section. This is where Delmo puts me onto the sand. What the hell is he doing? That's right. It's going to happen. But don't worry, I'm going to take care of you in a weird way. So there's the pier section. There's different sections, Doc. Break it up into smaller pieces.
And now that you don't have as much training to do, this is what we're saying your next 8, 9, 10 days can be. Your goals, your blessings, your plans, your chunks, your mantras, your reminders, your visualizing, right? All of that is part of the race. That's not written down anywhere. It might not be in your formal training plan, but that's why we're spending the time here tonight to help you get ready.
No doubt. And just so everyone remembers, we will shuttle all the athletes back from the finish, which is in front of Boardwalk Hall. They start at 1 or 2 o'clock. And there's a reason we start at 1 or 2 o'clock and not at 7 o'clock in the morning. We realized traffic is not fun for anyone while athletes are running off of Bader Field. And the last athletes are going to run off of Bader Field at 1:30. After that time, there's no more traffic, and we can get people right to Baderfield or right from the finish back to Baderfield. So that's why we would rather you just do the quick walk. If you're a spectator, make a plan. Do the quick walk to the finish. It's a mile and a half. It's not a lot. I mean, you walk further than that in a mall a lot of the times. You walk right there. But after starting at 1 o'clock, I think it's 1 o'clock, 1:30 or 2, whatever it is, we'll start the shuttles again. So we've got you from there. And the awards this year, based off of what you wanted from us, the awards ceremony is right at the finish line. We're going to celebrate at the finish line with everyone, and we're going to recognize those final finishers that are coming in, which is nice. You know, because think about it, some of them have been on the course 8 hours.
Oh, that's right.
You know, I mean,
so there'll be a crowd of people there.
There'll be a crowd of people there. Don't forget that we have the Shore to Shore Challenge taking place. That's all the athletes that signed up and raced Eagleman 70.3 in Maryland, just a classic 70.3, and are racing IMAX 70.3. So if you've done Eagleman and you're doing this race next weekend, you're getting a special medal. Okay, you're getting a special medal that we will give out at awards. We're going to call up all the names of those athletes, and you're going to be recognized as Shore to Shore finishers.
That's good. You know roughly how many that is?
We're well over 100.
Oh.
Yeah, we're well over 100, and it was a late intro into the game, so we believe next year we're going to have double that at least. So that's some of the things that we wanted to give you. We hope you take it to heart. Read this thing, go over this thing again. We've been at it for almost an hour. I know some of you have tuned into that, but again, the number one thing you could do is we really mean it. Go through your athlete guide. Ask questions. We have a wonderful Facebook group page in the Ironman Atlantic City Facebook group. You have to join the group. But there are so many helpful athletes. I mean, I got to say, you know, when you talk about thanking a volunteer and be grateful, I think of all the things as the event director that I'm grateful for. I mean, this started out as Challenge Atlantic City, guys. I said that. It started out as Challenge Atlantic City. And through just a natural progression of evolving, you know, I'm blessed to be able to be a licensee race director of Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City, and it was not an easy road. I will tell you that right now. It was not an easy road. But I'm grateful that we're here. I'm grateful to represent the greatest brand in endurance sports and be part of their family.
In this part of the state. Yeah. Absolutely. It's
close to my hometown.
Right.
You know, I don't do anything further than 40 miles from my house, which is amazing. And they believe, Ironman believes in South Jersey and Atlantic City and believes in our community. Did you know of the athletes that we have racing here in, I mean, we have a bunch of different states represented, but we have like 1,300 athletes from New Jersey alone. Wow. You know, 600 from Pennsylvania, another 400 plus from New York. Our triathlon community is so strong here. There's so many people that love what we do. Yeah. And we couldn't do it without you. So please, when you come to a Delmo event, Ironman event, like, I want you to bring the best of you. Bring the best of you to this event. We're going to bring the best of us to IMAC. I'm going to bring everything I got. I'm bringing it with my team. Please bring it. Leave any type A confrontational BS baggage that you may have home and make Atlantic City beautiful on the 17th. And I'm telling you, we can do it. If you've never raced with us before, we have a beautiful vibe at Delmo Sports Ironman. We're going to continue that, and I just want for all of you new triathletes out there, and you've never done 70.3, you've never raced with us, you've never been to Atlantic City, you've only seen things on the news. I want you to come in with this thing of energy, like, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm going to have a good time. I'm not worried about my time. I'm just here to bring it, and I'm here to represent the best of me. If everyone represents the best of themselves in Atlantic City, we're going to have a phenomenal weekend. I mean, if the rain clouds are coming, the rain's going to part. I mean, that's how it'll go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, the energy you get from your fellow competitors, right? They're your competitors. I get it, but they're really not. You're not really competing with them, are you?
No.
You know,
no. This is like golf.
There,
it's you
there,
and the course.
Yeah. But they enhance the experience. You know.
Yeah.
You know. So if everyone comes with that attitude, which is what usually happens, the triathlon community is such a great community. Yeah. That's why we all love it, right? It's going to be a phenomenal weekend.
No doubt. Phenomenal. So I would like to thank Dr. Greene for
you.
driving down here to the world headquarters in Wallwood, New Jersey.
Is unbelievable. You have to see it.
And I'd like to thank Ironman. I'd like to thank all of you triathletes. And again, if you have any questions, send them our way, and read your athlete guide.
And I'm available. You can find information from me on the Delmo website, and ways to reach me if you have any questions before the race. I'm happy to help any way I can.
Outstanding. So that's it. So it's Steve Delmonte, Dr. Mitch Greene, Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City. Over and out.
Over and out.